Our gold mineralization is roughly 100 million years old. That silver mineralization, that's the same as what Keno is being mined at Keno by Hecla.
Yeah.
It's about 80 million. So 20 million years later, it's kind of like you can imagine you're making a cake and you cut it in half to put the icing in the middle. And the silver mineralization comes up as the icing in the mineral in the middle. And so it's very distinct. It's like in a crack where a fault occurred. And so that crack, the fluids carrying the silver can come in and solidify. So you wouldn't mine it at the same mill as the gold.
Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We're here at the 2025 New Orleans Investment Conference with Tara Christie, the CEO of Banyan Gold. Tara, thank you for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be here.
Yes, great to have you. We met exactly 1 year ago here at the New Orleans Investment Conference 2024. I'll never forget your opener. You came up and introduced yourself as a gold digger. And, told me that you've had a 7 million ounce deposit, and that's when I perked up. And since then, we've become shareholders. So thank you for your efforts on behalf of us. And go ahead and give us, for anyone that doesn't know your project, go ahead and give them an overview.
Sure. Well, you said the scale of our deposit, but further detail on that, 2.2 million ounces of that is indicated, 5.4 million ounces inferred. We're located in the Yukon. We have existing roads and power on the property. So, you think of Canada's North and you think, oh, seasonal. We can go year round. We're still drilling today with 4 drills, going hard. So we can really advance our project very, very quickly. And we made our discovery in 2019. So this is actually a new project that's had a discovery that's advanced very quickly. Last year was a really difficult year for something completely unrelated to us, the mine down the road.
Yeah.
And so if you bought last year, you got some great prices.
Yeah.
But that's kind of an opportunity too. And it continues, I think, to be an opportunity for us because we're still catching up. We haven't really re-rated to the gold price yet. We're still about $30 per ounce. I think we're all starting to see a little bit of the M&A that's happening in the sector.
Yeah.
We all know the mine down the road is for sale and there's some bidders left in the process, and the website still says they plan to sell that by the end of the year. So maybe there'll be a big company that buys that, and there's no other thing they can buy to become a 400,000 to 600,000 ounce producer, which is probably what they want to be.
Yeah.
But if it's a mid-tier or a smaller company and they want to be a 200,000 ounce producer, that means all the other people that are looking for ounces or were participating in that process have to take a look at us because there are not very many plus 7 million and closer to 8 million ounce projects out there that are in North America, a stable jurisdiction. So I think things we've done well. We're also fully financed now with that strategic investment from Alpayana.
Yeah.
We now have over $42 million in the bank. It's the first time we've really been significantly capitalized to be able to put our head down and really focus on adding value. And what a great market for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So updated, what's your market cap, cash, and debt?
Cash, 42 million.
42.
No debt.
Okay.
Market cap about 320 million Canadian.
Okay. All right. 320 million Canadian and 42 million in the bank, ready to drill out.
We're still drilling.
Okay.
So we'll spend another million or so this year before the end of the year.
Okay.
And then that leaves us a lot of money for next year. So, and following year. So we don't have to spend it all next year. What great optionality to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, last year here, you were at 7 million ounces. I talked to you at Rick's conference and you were up to 7.7.
That's correct.
And I believe I correctly interpreted, and that was the unanswered question I was waiting for, was where's your starter pit? And it looks like you'd found it.
That's what our target for this year was, that 5 million ounces of 1 gram. And remember, we've been really trying to get people to take a harder look at these zones of high grade, which will be our starter pits, and the fact that we can drill them off with our drilling this year. So the power line results that we've put out so far have shown very non-typical numbers for Banyan, but they really should think of them as typical, like 11 grams, 2.6 grams, lots of long 1 gram intercepts. That's what we're looking for, and we're finding it. Power line, airstrip, we had some very high grade there. Remember, we had the 9 grams over 16 meters, and even one intercept up to 539 grams. So start to think of Banyan a little bit different. What are the economics? How are they going to play out with this new resource and what we're drilling out this year? So I'm pretty excited about it. It's nice to be in a position where I can see the path that we need to take to add value. We've got the capital for it. We've got the people for it, and this great market with $4,000 gold. Wow. And we're still at less than $30 per ounce.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You alluded to it a bit ago, and that was on, you're talking about Victoria Gold. So they had, anyone that isn't aware, they had a pretty horrific failure of a pad, and now it looks like they're coming up for sale. How close in proximity, distance-wise, are you guys from Victoria?
So it's 42 kilometers by road,
Okay.
25 kilometers as the crow flies.
Okay.
And that's a heap leach project. So our project would probably be a mill project. That's what we're modeling it as, because you recover more gold, and that's really critical. The economics are driving it to that.
Yeah.
But their Lynx deposit, which was an undeveloped deposit that they had, where they had 1.7 gram ton material, 1.1 million ounces of it, but they never finished updating the resource. So I expect it was actually higher grade and more ounces. That's only 4 kilometers from us, and we stand in our camp and we look up at the hill. So there's more synergies for them with us than with us
For them.
So for us, it's a kind of a win-win situation. Whoever buys that, whether they're a large miner, a mid-tier, getting that going again, getting mining, people appreciating in the community and the First Nation to see that mining can be done well and that it's providing jobs and benefits. All of that's positive for us. Plus having all those other groups that didn't win the process to buy Eagle or Coffee or any of the other projects which have been up for sale.
Yeah.
My biggest worry is that people start looking at us too fast and we're not ready, and our share price is still where it is. So I feel that's what keeps me up at night if people ask me.
Well, that's what we call a first world problem.
It's a first world problem, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and go into your story a little bit about your background up there in the Yukon. And I remember one of the pictures you showed me. You must have been 3 or 4 years old, sitting on a bunch of gold bars. So you go way back in this area here, and you've been doing this your whole life. Right?
My father was a PhD geologist, and I just lost him this June.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He would be very, very pleased to see what, because his motto was, he actually, early in his career, he was a prospector, and his motto was, find a mine, have fun, do it again.
Yeah.
And he did find a couple very significant deposits. And then later in his life, we joined my dad, like prospecting in this mining business is lots of travel.
Yeah.
And so, we did go and do soil sampling with him in the hard rock business. So he moved into placer mining because it's something that we could do as a family. And so we started mining in the Yukon, and we actually became one of the largest placer miners. So yeah, I learned how to drive a bulldozer in my, I won't say, it's probably 8 when I drove a bulldozer first, and in my teens, and that's how I paid my way through university, was actually running heavy equipment and running the mine for my family. And so yeah, I get to call myself a real gold digger. And the gold I have on my neck, I actually panned at 8. My brother and I got to go in the cut, so we had a bit of an advantage that we could go down and get some pretty good material out of there. But panned it through our own home built long tom, and then we got to that year we got 16 ounces, so we each had 8 ounces. I still have that gold. So and that's, people say, what would you do if Banyan get bought out? And I'm like, well, there's lots of projects out there, and this is what I do. I think that probably if Banyan is bought out, that's what I'll do, or maybe I'll go placer mining again. It's also a great life.
Yeah. What other projects in the region? Would you pick one pretty close to where you are now, or?
Oh, who knows? You got to wait till that actually happens. Okay. You can't get too far ahead of yourself because it's not there yet.
Yeah.
And I'm really committed to Banyan. I'm a big shareholder of Banyan, and I really want to see it. And I think it's about an 80% chance in this market that M&A is going to be what happens. A 20% chance that Banyan grows up, and we change the team, just as we've changed it from early exploration to the team that we have now. That is really, I've got such a great team. My VP of Project Development working on the baseline environmental, the PEA, Duncan Mackay, who joined us from Yamana, with his ability to do all our modeling internally, and who developed our new resource model. And it's been, when I look at our targeting this year with our drill holes, I think it's the best program we've ever had. And we have 40,000 meters of drilling. So we've been a little slow getting drill results out because we've been so busy with more drills. We had to write 3 43-101s. We also put out the resource on our Highland project, which was another 500,000 ounces at a gram. So, checking the boxes of all the things that we have to do during the season. And our season's long.
Yeah.
It's about a 9-month, 10-month season.
Yeah.
But still, there's an awful lot to do. So there'll be lots of drill results to come. We'll have roughly another 150 holes to still release.
I guess what I was alluding to was you're, at least what I understand of what you're good at is you're good at identifying, finding, and but not necessarily building the mine, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be the CEO during building. I would find a CEO and do a management transition to somebody that, maybe I'd stick around on the board, maybe not. Depends on how that person is. But I know a lot of really good mine builders in this business who I have trusted my other equity with. So, find somebody that's a good mine builder and put it in their hands.
Okay.
Then your shareholders would really make a lot of money.
Yeah. You
It's
don't
kinda
have,
like
you don't have the ego that you have to do it. I guess that's what
Well, I think that's a mistake. You don't have, it's like when you're running a mine, you don't have mine builders because mine builders are firefighters. Explorationists also have a different mentality and they're not necessarily good at that. Running a mine would be boring. Explorationists, you need the thrill of the chase, right? So you need people that are the right time for the project.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about, one other thing I wanted to hit on with the Victoria deposit and where you guys are, 25 kilometers as the crow flies. What do you think that, what's the word? What do you think the geology looks like underground? Do you think they're connected? What do you see there?
So Victoria has several known deposits on that, like the Raven deposit. They also had Gold Dome, which is right beside our project. These types of deposits, these reduced intrusions, do generally occur in clusters or belts. So yes, there is the potential for, not just between us as the crow flies, but we have 680 square kilometers. We've only explored 2% of it. Right immediately south of Victoria Gold is our Nitra property, which has their Gold Dome in the middle. That's also very prospective, and it has lots of historic alluvial mining. One of the best indicators that there's a hard rock source around is that there's alluvial or placer gold mining. So we have lots of additional targets on our property. Yeah, there could be something in between as well. But we have, and that's one of the things that I also am proud that we can do that next year, is actually line up to drill some of those targets that you'd probably be embarrassed if somebody came in and bought you out and you didn't put a drill hole in.
Oh, okay.
Because we have geophysics, we've got soils, we know where the historic alluvial and current alluvial mining is.
Yeah.
Maybe we should follow up on some of that.
Okay.
And just like the silver discovery that we made, we're following up on that. Like that very high grade silver, 14,000, 11,000 gram per ton. That's significant if you not very deep. And that's a different phase of mineralization. So our gold mineralization is roughly 100 million years old. That silver mineralization, that's the same as what Keno is being mined at Keno by Hecla.
Yeah.
It's about 80 million. So 20 million years later, it's kind of like you can imagine you're making a cake and you cut it in half to put the icing in the middle. And the silver mineralization comes up as the icing in the middle. And so it's very distinct. It's probably in a crack where a fault occurred. And so that crack, the fluids carrying the silver can come in and solidify. So you wouldn't mine it at the same mill as the gold.
Okay.
But we have a mill 10 minutes drive down the road at Hecla that needs more. They're actually short of feed for their mill. So that brings in another little interesting tidbit in that we have Hecla on the other side also, which has got a tremendous cash flow, has a mine right next door that's looking for additional feed they've been looking internally, but you need to do a lot of development in order to get that. So it just brings in a little bit more competitive tension that there are other people that are going to start looking at us, one for our silver, then for our gold first, I guess, because it's a lot of gold. And there's so much room to grow. Another first world problem, do you continue to grow the ounces because you can make it much bigger, or do you just focus on getting some indicated, developing the ounces that are going to go into the economic project? It's a first world problem.
Yeah.
It's fun to have that conversation with my team about, what is it that we need to do next? And now that we're financed, we can really debate, think through, and have a really good plan for adding value for next year that will bring people knocking on our door.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. And so that put that into perspective. That's like a kilo of silver or more per load. What
That would be direct shipping ore. You could probably send it right to the smelter. And they did historically. In Keno, there were a lot of these very high grade mines that were hand mined. And, the history of the Yukon, everybody thinks about the gold rush, but the silver rush was very significant. And the amount of silver that's come out of Keno and what it did to contribute to building roads and the territory is very, very significant. So, but they hand mined it, and then they often would ship it off to be processed elsewhere. Sometimes they would have a hand mill there because it's such high grade ore, right? Those grades. If we could find a geometry where the fault area or the crack is wide enough to have a significant amount of mineralization, that's the prize, right?
Yeah. But basically what happened was you sent a drill hole down, you hit this, and you're like, oh my God, well, this is here. But you don't really have any idea of which way it's running or where it's coming from.
Well, we do.
Right? Oh, you do?
We had 5 drill holes that hit wisps of it or hit it solidly with those from 2021. So it was our drilling. It's historic officially, but it's our own drilling from 2021. But of course, in that market, nobody cared. And we didn't have a structural model that put it together. But now that Duncan's on the team, he's put together the story of it, and we can see the trend, and it looks like it trends right towards Hecla's Birmingham. And so now, with very little, we're not drilling extra holes. We're just slightly adjusting holes that we would drill in Powerline, adding gold ounces to our gold deposit to also look for this silver vein. So it's kind of like 2 for 1 now.
Yeah.
We got the bonus of some potential silver discovery, along with knowing that we're adding gold ounces in our high grade area at the same time.
Yeah.
But from a mining perspective, people are like, well, isn't that confusing? They both can't go to the same mill. Well, that's fine. They're very easy to distinguish and separate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And what's the biggest unanswered question facing Banyan right now?
Does it have to be about us, or can it be about the district? Because I think that's also exciting. There's a lot of unanswered questions. You hear all the rumors like Snowline. There's lots of excitement about what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
What are they going to do next? What's going to happen with Victoria Gold? What's Hecla going to do with their project? They finally had 2 quarters of profit there. So I think that's one for us. It is, how do you spend that money to add the most value? And that's something that we're going to have answers to, and we're working on them internally. We know we're going to be drilling next year. We know we're going to put out a PEA, maybe even get a little further down the road with that. We'll see how fast we want to accelerate it as we kind of see how much attention we get in the market. But, the $42 million, that's not burning a hole in our pocket. We're going to make sure it gets spent really well. And if you look at our history, 85% of our dollars get spent in the ground. And that's, pretty important that our shareholders see that we are working hard to add value for all of our shareholders.
Yeah. You're putting it in the ground, not blowing it on hats or something. Yeah. I hear you.
We do have a few hats, but we don't have hundreds.
Anything I should have asked that I didn't? Any closing thoughts?
Well, I think this is a really exciting time for people to be looking at gold and silver stocks. It's been nice to be here and talk to people that actually bought stock last year. You come to this conference year after year. It's nice to come back and talk to real shareholders that have made money. Yeah. And that actually I find really satisfying. It's everybody should make some money out of this. The community as well. I think that's important. And that's what we're all striving for, is a project that eventually becomes a mine that generates wealth for the community, for Canada, and shareholders. And if that happens, that's great. Whether or not I'm running it or not, doesn't really matter. I think that's something in your career. If you can say you've done that, it's a pretty good career.
Yeah. I get the same satisfaction out of this when I meet people that have, watched the show and they make money from it. That feels better to me than when I make money myself. It's a lot of fun. Tara, thank you for coming on the show. If viewers want to get a hold of you and follow Banyan, how can they do so?
They can email me, tchristie@banyangold.com. You can call the number that gets through to my phone from the website, or go to the website and get information and sign up for our e-blast, because we put out regular communications and do lots of videos. So we make sure our shareholders all have good information. And of course, I come and I'm present at these shows so shareholders can talk to me directly.
Yes. And we appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Right on. And thank you for tuning in. Go to stevebartonmoney.com for more, and have a wonderful day.